You've messed around in a game. I've messed around in a game. You know, you take a break from saving the world so you can punch an NPC, poke at stuff you're not supposed to, or just see what happens if you stand still for 5 minutes. Sometimes the game notices, and every now and then developers sneak in little ways of saying, stop screwing around. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 games that punished you for messing around. Let's start this one off at number 10 with eating a limit break in Astrobot. Most of the VIP bots found in the hub of Astrobot let you use and abuse them basically as much and however you want. But certain characters are a little less welcoming towards the tomfoolery. One such bot who suffers no fools is Spyro. He will hit you with his flame breath if you decide to invade his personal space with your tiny robot fists. Another is Cloud, who was only added to the game much later. You know, Cloud Strife, Final Fantasy VII. If Astro messes with this guy, get ready to be punished. Every time you hit Cloud, a little meter above his head fills up just a little bit more, and when it fills up, he unleashes his ultimate limit break, the Omni Slash. Each one of these hits makes little 999 numbers appear, just like the actual move, only this time, instead of finishing you off, he bonks Astro on the head, which makes little chocobos fly around his head like right out of a Looney Tunes cartoon. As far as punishments go, it's kind of lame, but it's all in good fun with Astrobot. It's funny, too. Little terror, Astrobot getting a taste of his own medicine, you know? And number 9 is Shot in the Back from Scarface, The World Is Yours. Before Saints Row, Volition made this game, which isn't just a video game based on the Brian De Palma classic Scarface. It's a sequel where Tony Montana inexplicably survives the climactic gunfight from the end of the film. How? Well, with balls. Seriously, that's pretty much all you get, because the game faithfully recreates the final moments of the movie and Tony just kind of survives. The only explanation I can think of is he's a video game protagonist now. Oh wait, the actual real reason is because he walks forward. It was standing in place that sealed Tony's fate in the original film, because if you repeat that fatal mistake in the game and just stand on the balcony where the game starts, just taking it easy, you will get killed exactly like he does in the movie with a blast to the back. So move forward and you live, stay in place and you die. Hard to call a punishment, but it's kind of a cool Easter egg, if not for the fact you die from it. It's game over. It's a punishment. The punishment is basically that the game follows the canon of the movie. I don't know. First mission of this game is ridiculous. You kill like 100 guys in 5 minutes. To think you could have missed out on all this by standing in place for a minute. And number 8, an out-of-bounds surprise and splashdown. In most racing games, wandering too far away from the track gets you an annoying naggy, "You're going the wrong way," message, or it fades to black and dumps you back on the track. Some games at least try something a little whimsical, like in Mario Kart, where Lakitu will pick you up and bring you back to the track, but they rarely get weirder than that. Enter Splashdown, a very old PlayStation 2 jet ski racer that seems pretty standard and straight-laced. The design of the whole thing is about as bland as you can possibly imagine, but it's got one absolutely out there secret for players looking to mess around. In a standard race, nothing really happens. If you get off the beaten path, kind of the usual fade to black trick that everybody in usual racers do. But if you play a map in free play mode, that's where things get interesting. Wander too far from the track in this mode, and I'm trying to build a little suspense here because there really is no other way to describe other than just saying what it is. A giant tentacle comes up out of the sea and pulls you under, only to throw you into the air, barreling back into the bounds of the race. It's like those off-road games where they launch into the air if you get too far forward, but just way crazier. I guess it makes sense why they're similar. Rainbow Studios worked on both Splashdown and ATV Off-Road Fury, but, you know, it is essentially a water-based and crazier version of that Easter egg, but yeah. And number 7, what happens if you shoot the nuke in Hitman Absolution? Always tempting to shoot random stuff, but most of the time, the effect, it's disappointing. Very rarely do things react the way you want them to. Everything often sits stock still or doesn't do anything. Most of the time, you don't even get bullet holes. It's lame. Some games do manage to deliver, though, and while Hitman Absolution doesn't most of the time, there is one thing you can shoot that pays off spectacularly. I guess you could call it a punishment because it does trigger a game over, but it's worth seeing. In the entryway of Dexter Industries, about 3/4 of the way through the game, there's a nuclear bomb just sort of hanging there. How did it get there? Why is it there? Don't know. But a nuclear bomb it is, because if you decide to mess around and take a few pot shots at it, it actually goes off in a special cutscene where the view switches to some distant desert spot where you see the mushroom cloud and blast away before fading to white and throwing up a game over message to let you know that yes, you are in fact dead. And hey, look at that, it's Lynch from Kane and Lynch. He's here for some reason, as well as being extremely dead. And number 6 is the Pillory from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. A lot of open world games just have some kind of crime and punishment system, but the one in Kingdom Come makes it feel especially punishing. Not just because of how sensitive people can be, you can get punished for doing something as simple as wandering around at night without a torch, but also how humiliating the punishment actually is. I'm talking about the Pillory, or the stocks, whatever you want to call it. If you get caught doing just about anything, stealing, getting into fights with innocent people, just standing around in a place you shouldn't be, and you're unable to pay the associated fine, you're thrown in the Pillory in the central square of town.
Get moving! I tried to settle it peacefully.
That'll do!
But you're asking for trouble. Arrest him! Guards!
Easy now! I surrender! I've got you! You can't say you weren't warned! You can't just loiter around on other people's property! You'll pay up and show me whether you stole anything. Otherwise, we'll deal with your unruliness in the Pillory!
People throw rotten vegetables at you. You're stuck in this thing, just taking it for quite a while. Every time it happens, you watch a montage of the time spent stuck in there. And while it's funny, it also looks pretty damn awful. And that's the least brutal of punishments you can get in this game. Do worse stuff, you'll get branded, flogged, or just straight up executed, depending on the severity of your crimes. The game is set in an unforgiving era that's made especially clear with the crime and punishment system. And number 5, Foot and Mouth Syndrome in Outer Worlds 2. This series has a different route with punishing. It does have the usual stuff, you know. Everybody starts shooting at you if you steal a pencil, that type of stuff. But the more interesting innovation here is the flaw system, which are special perks that have advantages, but also downsides, major downsides, that will trigger on your character after doing certain things. They're not all meant to be punishments, to be clear. A lot of them, however, are calling you out for doing certain things too much. Like you get a flaw for crouching all the time, for instance, or reloading constantly. Foot and Mouth Syndrome is one of the funniest and biggest deliberate call-outs of any of the flaws. You get this from doing something we're all tempted to do when playing RPGs, but developers probably hate: skipping dialogue. If you regularly skip dialogue, eventually this flaw will trigger and give you some pretty positive effects of making it so you get about 15% more experience globally, but has the very amusing negative effect of making it so your choices in conversation are randomly selected for you. I don't have to tell you how much that could mess things up for you. Like, half the game is going on through dialogue trees. That's where most of your character building is going on and where most of the big decisions are made. So having all that chosen randomly for you could be a big problem.
Anything I guess that's something. It was all going fine until the damn thing blasts me while I'm reloading. True. You know what? As for the rest of these fine folk, they were... Yep, the man in charge, Commander Torres, is a lightning. I suppose it could be worse.
It's not nearly as bad as it first appears because it gives you a 10-second countdown before the dialogue gets picked randomly. So if you're quick to make a decision, it's not really an issue. And all the flaws you don't actually have to use if you don't want to, but it's such a specific call out from Obsidian to the player that it's worth mentioning.
Yahoo!
A surprise, but comes.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am D.B. But I'm hardly the type to beg and ask for nothing in return. Tell me, what do you desire of this island?
And number 4 is never even found any sailors in Shenmue. While you're supposed to be relentlessly pursuing the man who killed your father in Shenmue, it's pretty easy to get sidetracked. In fact, that's kind of a major part of the game, because there's not a lot of plot progression in the original Shenmue. It's almost more like forklift driving simulator than anything else. Sure, the evil Londi is at large, but I've got to finish my capsule toy collection. It can seem like this game can go on forever. Like you have an urgent quest, but they let you wander around for years of in-game time without progressing the plot. I mean, that happens in other games, but Shenmue actually has a hard cutoff date. The game starts in November, and if you don't finish it by April 15th, it's game over. Londi appears at your house and takes you out effortlessly in a full cutscene, which is a lot more than you usually get for something like this.
I'll never tell you where Ryo-san is! Fukusan! Londi!
It's especially impressive because the chances of most players actually taking this long to progress is pretty impossible. Most players are gonna finish the game around December or January, and that's if they take it slow. It's basically the only way of seeing the bad ending is if you're trying to. Still, it's funny to imagine Ryu getting completely sidetracked with the forklift. He just forgets about his quest for avenging his father.
I will avenge my father's death!
And number 3, Sonic's out of here in Sonic CD. It's a simple and bizarre punishment for messing around. In this case, it's not for doing dumb or pointless stuff, it's for ignoring the game. In Sonic CD, if you leave Sonic idling for 3 minutes straight, he will literally just get up and leave the game. He says, "I'm out of here," and jumps off the screen, you get a game over. Seriously, if you don't play the game, just like if you leave it idle for too long, he's gone.
I'm out of here.
I don't know if they do this because they don't want a CD sitting there spinning all day. I mean, technically that is a wear situation. Like the mechanics are doing the mechanical thing, and over time, the more you do that, the less good it will work. I don't know if they were thinking about that because the Sega CD, I'll tell you, wasn't the highest quality CD peripheral I've ever seen, ever. But maybe it's just because they don't have patience for people who don't want to play the game. I don't know. Better have your undivided attention for Sonic T Hedgehog. You can simply pause the game to get around the punishment entirely, but yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's in the game, given that. We're talking about it 30 years later, so whatever madman decided to do it was probably onto something, but still. And number 2 is just waiting it out and look outside. Maybe the ultimate fuck you and find out of the game. Game gives you lots of options to do dangerous and stupid things that, like clockwork, almost always result in the game over. And I'm not just talking about messing around with grotesque abominations that are your neighbors, you know, because of the mysterious celestial event that's caused everyone who looked outside to become a monster. I mean, even basic things like the one time where the guy who's crashing in your house starts playing with matches. If you do something stupid like encourage him to mess around with fire, he'll inevitably burn down your apartment with both of you inside. Just a random little bit of dialogue that happens in the one place you're supposed to be safe, and it can get you killed. So it might be tempting to simply wait the game out. You're supposed to explore the apartment and fight monsters and eventually figure out some way to stop whatever is happening. But there's nothing forcing you to do that. If you want, you can simply hang out in your apartment for 2 weeks, and the Eldritch Apocalypse going on outside your window and it eventually stops. Just sit around, check the internet, and play video games all day. Sounds pretty alright, boring in video game terms, but doesn't get you the most satisfying ending either. You do survive the ordeal, but the rest of the world is completely screwed. It's actually a pretty wild ending because it's basically setting up a new game that obviously probably won't happen anyway. They do really paint the picture for a follow-up game set in this nightmarish world set at the events of the game. As far as bad endings go, it's surprisingly substantial and satisfying even in a way, even though you don't actually get any answers for what's happening and why. And finally, at number 1, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption telling you to hurry it up. Most of the time, especially early in a game, unless they explicitly throw a timer in your face, the appearance of danger is implied. Like, it's not going to happen. Like in Final Fantasy VII, yeah, the meteor is a danger, narratively speaking, but it's not like it's ever actually going to crash into the planet if you take too long hanging around the golden saucer. Metroid games in particular love to give you a ticking clock and tell you to hurry up. It's a series staple. It happens so often that I don't blame anyone for assuming the only parts you are on a time limit are when you were explicitly shown a timer. So it's pretty nasty of Metroid Prime 3 to intentionally not do that. See, in the opening section of the game, you're supposed to get a planet's defense network back online in order to stop this meteor from crashing into the base. For most of the level, you can progress as quickly or as slowly as you want, even though the meteor is apparently incoming the entire time. It's enough to make you think that when the meteor finally does appear in the skybox, it's just for show. Doesn't really look like it's moving after all, but at this point, right before the end, if you take too long to activate the anti-air guns, you can actually fail. The meteor may not look like it's moving at a glance, but it is, just pretty slowly. If you take around 7 minutes to complete your task, it's game over. The meteor crashes into the planet and everybody's dead. It's just jarring because Metroid is the game with the timers. If you're about to die on a clock, they usually tell you. But for whatever reason, this time around, they don't. This one very specific instance. They do at least give you more time than you need to get through the segment. The only way you're going to die is if you're legitimately screwing around or, I don't know, falling asleep while playing or something. Maybe you get distracted and you don't pause the game, I don't know. Those are the only real scenarios you can die at this point, but it's still kind of surprising they even bothered. Unlikely, because your death is unlikely, but still, fun Easter egg and punishment. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. We'll see you next time right here on Gameranx.